Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on Puerto Rico and the pandemic. The island was already reeling from natural disasters of the last several years when COVID-19 struck. There have been many hardships and challenges, but nothing can break the spirit of the Puerto Rican people. Latin rapper PJ Sinzuela is making people smile and feel better with his latest song, A Que No Me Tocas, Spanish for Don't You Touch Me. But his main role since COVID-19 began has been to make people feel better through medicine. He's an emergency room doctor, pulling daily 12-hour shifts in Ponce, Puerto Rico.
So it's been a hard year. I've learned a lot, but it's been very hard not to be able to. Still, family members of the patients are still outside. We're still working with the pandemic in Puerto Rico. But it's been a learning experience and a year that changed my life.
The coronavirus could not have come at a worse time for Puerto Rico, still reeling from the enormous damage left behind by Hurricane Maria in 2017 and the wave of earthquakes that began in 2019. Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. led many relief efforts to help the people with badly needed basic supplies. He says the virus threat is not yet over.
So when folks look at a spike in COVID cases now in Puerto Rico, people aren't getting tested, people aren't getting vaccinated because of the medical infrastructure has been devastated even before COVID.
Music is a huge part of the Puerto Rican soul, a way to find joy in any moment. It's exemplified by Tito Puente, the king of Latin jazz. His dynamic performances and musical talents kept him in the spotlight, delighting audiences for more than 50 years. East 110th Street in Manhattan has been renamed Tito Puente Way in his honor. His daughter, Fox 5 meteorologist Audrey Puente, fondly remembers going to nightclubs and shows with her dad since the age of 2. Close families are a foundation of Puerto Rican culture.
My dad's greatest lesson that he passed on to me was to follow my passion. He told me from a very young age, figure out what you love to do and figure out a way to be paid for it, and you will never feel like you're going to work a day in your life.
Let's take a closer look at where things are now with our panel. Joining me for this conversation, Audrey Puente. She's Fox 5's meteorologist. She's also Puerto Rican heritage, and she is the daughter of a king, the king of Latin jazz, the one and only Tito Puente. Audrey, great to have you with us.
Great to see you, Lisa. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Also joining us is Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. He has been a longtime supporter of the Puerto Rican community here in New York and also in Puerto Rico, led many relief efforts, and also has been a key factor in educating people about some of the stereotypes, some of the myths, and also what he says are the legal injustices that the people in Puerto Rico are facing in terms of their representational rights. So let's get started with this right now. Ruben, I want to start with you. As we look at the Puerto Rico going into the summer of 2021 after the pandemic, what do you see as the biggest challenges? Because it's almost like people are faced with this choice of let's get to herd immunity, let's put the pandemic in the past, but it's not in the past yet, and let's open up the airports and everything so that we can have tourism back and the money flowing in again. Where do you see Puerto Rico right now?
Puerto Rico is, and speaking to my family and just being there last month, they're hurting pretty bad. We think that we're hurting over here, and we are, but understand that we're only dealing with the aftermath of COVID. Puerto Rico is dealing with COVID on top of a financial crisis that has been around for years. And then on top of that, they had Hurricane Maria that, by the way, killed more Puerto Ricans than COVID has and devastated their economy more than COVID has. $100 billion worth of loss of economic development on Maria, that is, with Hurricane Maria. And then they had the earthquakes. We've never seen a place where you've had score of earthquake in a matter of months. So COVID is just adding on to all the things that they've been trying to endure over the last almost decade already. And without federal assistance, without making sure that we help them build their infrastructure, the grid, without dealing with other things like repealing the Jones Act, it's going to be very, very difficult. And so those of us who are over here, Audrey and I and other Puerto Ricans in the diaspora, that's why it is more imperative than ever, not just to wave our Puerto Rican flag, but to be a voice so that we can push the federal government to do something for the people and our family members on the island.
And to really help the people. Audrey, in terms of, Ruben mentioned the natural disasters, that COVID has come after these terrible natural disasters. I mean, talk about Hurricane Maria. That was one of the worst hurricanes ever, correct?
Very much so, especially for the islands. It was truly devastating. And as Ruben mentioned, there was billions of dollars in damage. The structural damage has just been devastating, and they never really recovered. And then add to that several earthquakes that happened in the years after, and now put a pandemic on it. And this island is really, truly struggling and is in dire need of our support.
There's an adage in our community that says, "Donde come uno, comen cien." So when Audrey says that we're resilient, it means that, look, where one of us eat, don't worry about it. We'll figure out how to feed 100. But you need to give us the resources to be able to do that. So going back to the pandemic, the first thing that we need to do is have a healthy citizenry over there. But when you have no electricity in many parts because of the power grid, and that's coming back slowly but surely, but it's just not reliable. The infrastructure is not reliable. When you have the very little equipment, when you see an average of one doctor a day for the last 4 or 5 years leaving the island of Puerto Rico, when you have the infrastructure of the hospitals where buildings have to be condemned because of the earthquakes, that's, again, all a recipe for pain, poverty, and debt and despair. And we need the federal government to start putting up. We do that for other countries. We do that for countries that are not even friendly to the United States.
Right.
We're talking about a part of the United States. We're talking about our family members, 3.3 million of them who are American citizens.
Audrey, speak to the Puerto Rican culture. You talk about the resiliency. You talk about this, the whole. One of the things that always has struck me is the generosity. It's like, even if somebody is very, very poor, you go to their house, they're going to offer you food. Like, if something happens, they're going to figure out a way. They're not going to say, well, you know what, I can't order that part and have it delivered by Amazon, to my doorstep tomorrow. We're going to see what we have right here. We're going to find a way to make it move, whether it's a car, whether it's, something.
Right. Our Boricua brothers and sisters will find that part. But we know somebody's cousin who has that part somewhere, and it will be delivered for sure. We're one big family. We really are. It's my experience and my culture that if you're of a Puerto Rican descent, you are familia, and people show up for their families, whether it's blood or cultural, they will show up. And that's been the resilient factor of the island.
We'll be right back. Stay with us. Audrey, tell us your memory as a little girl, some of your youngest memories with your dad at that height of that era of the jazz movement.
Well, it's funny. People always ask me, what was it like growing up, in a household with Tito Puente? And my answer is always the same. It was very loud because we had a lot of music all the time. Radios were on in every single room. I just remember from a very, very young age, constantly being surrounded with music, with concerts. I was in nightclubs since I was 2 years old. It was a very vibrant, lively, and colorful childhood for me.
And what were some of the things that you feel you adapted from your dad? Because you're you're very humble, but you're a trailblazer in your field as well.
Thank you for saying so. Super easy. My dad's greatest lesson that he passed on to me was to follow my passion. He told me from a very young age, figure out what you love to do and figure out a way to be paid for it, and you will never feel like you're going to work a day in your life. And that's evident for me every single day. I'm a meteorologist, which is my passion, is weather. And I go to work every day, truly grateful that I get to do what I really love. So much so that I would be doing it for free. Just don't tell the boss that.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. No, when you love it. So there was no pressure like, okay, you're going to be a singer, you're going to be a dancer, you're going to be in. It was basically like, do what you love.
None of that. In fact, I can remember our Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners with the entire family. My father, for lack of a better way of saying it, I would say sort of discouraging us and to enter the music industry. I was the only one that listened because everyone else in the family somehow interjected themselves musically. While I played instruments growing up, my industry is completely different from where the rest of the family kind of entered into.
Ruben, one of the things too that has always struck me about the Puerto Rican culture is the family, the concept of family, and of course many cultures, you know, we have our families, we love our families, but it's a very unique manifestation in the Puerto Rican community. Tell us about that.
To us means everything. And it's not only the nuclear family, but the extended families. You know, we say things like primo hermano, where it's your cousin, but it's just like your cousin brother, your cousin sister. Like you grew up with your extended family to the point where your cousins were just as close to you as your brother or your sister, as your siblings. Whenever you have a dinner or after church, Thanksgiving, Saturdays, everybody comes over. And again, you come over to somebody's house without even an invitation, and no one's offended by it. We grew up, you know, Audrey speaks about Tito Puente, God bless him, giant to us. He raised us also. So on Saturdays, you heard, you know, her dad and Willie Colon and Fania All-Stars while mommy was cleaning and everything, and everybody's doing their part. That's what happens on Saturday. The other thing that people need to know is that we're big on faith. We're big on food, and also that our culture is a maternal one. Some people want to make light of that. Some people, you know, may say, well, you know, where's your dad or where's this or where that? We are an extremely maternal culture, which means that abuelita is at the top.
That's a grandmother.
That's the grandmother. The abuelitas, the women in our culture sit at the throne. They dictate everything that goes on and how things operate, not only in the nuclear family, but the extended family. And that's something that it means a lot to us. And people just may not understand that about us.
And then
I would also say to that, like, we are a culture of passion. Like it's you see it in our food, in our dancing, in our music, in our clothing, and in the way we love. It's everything about being Puerto Rican has to do with passion.
And how we communicate. You know, you two Puerto Ricans or 3 or 4 Puerto Ricans speaking from this, you may think they're arguing, but that's just the, you know, that's just the way that we communicate.
Yes.
You know, we're very verbose and loud, and that's just the way that we are. It's part of our tradition.
I love it all.
I love it. I love it all too. But and that's also like that energy. Like you can see people arguing. They'll have feuds. They'll have very, very substantial differences of opinion about certain things. And yet, when it comes to the family, it's all about love.
Yes, and also music is. I mean, Audrey speaks of how she was with her dad at the age of 2. That's part of our DNA. We have a pentameter. We have a rhythm in us. Not only with, you know, mambo, not only with salsa, but hip hop. Look at the early stages of hip hop. Right. We've had Crazy Legs, we had Charlie Chase, we had Ruby D, Fat Joe, Big Pun, Nori. You know, we have reggaeton. So hip hop is at the top of the musical genre. Is the #1 musical genre, but reggaeton is global as well, and that comes from the island of Puerto Rico. Music is embedded in us, and we just love it, and that's what brings us together, just as food does.
No, absolutely. Audrey, what about the food?
Oh my gosh, is there anything better than Puerto Rican food? I really don't know. I love all cuisines, but I may be biased. I don't even think I'm biased. It just is the best cuisine to have. It's so full of flavor. You can feel the love that's been in the preparation of it. As Ruben mentioned, like cooking and the coming together of families for meals is filled with such love, and it comes through with the food, all the way up from abuelita down.
It's the #1 ingredient in our food. That's why when I say it's maternal, some people may say, oh, if women are the ones who cook, isn't that sexist? No. In our culture, mommy wants to do that. And she'll use sazon and adobo, and she'll make pasteles. My wife makes pasteles and arroz con gandules, y pernil, y ensalada de papa. But the #1 ingredient is love. That's the way that they nurture the family. That's what keeps the family together. That one ingredient in the food when everybody's seated and playing, the kids are playing, but it's time to eat. That love there is second to none in the whole universe.
Audrey and Ruben, thanks so much for being with us and sharing your stories and your love of Puerto Rico. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to this episode of Street Soldiers. Joining me now is a Latin rapper who is also a medical doctor, PJ Cinzuela. He joins us from Ponce, Puerto Rico. We're joined right now by one of the hottest new Latin rappers on the scene, PJ Cinzuela. We're talking to him from Ponce, Puerto Rico. He is also a medical doctor, so we caught him just as he finished his shift at the hospital. And PJ, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We really appreciate it. How do you balance your music career, which is blowing up and very demanding, with your career as a medical doctor, which is also extremely demanding?
It's been hard. I've always said that balance is key. This year specifically with the pandemic, it's been very hard. I literally got out of a shift at 6 p.m. and got in at 6 a.m. But I try to, this is my home studio. So this year I moved back to Ponce, Puerto Rico, is where I'm from. And when I end the shift, at least 3 or 4 times a week, I'm here writing and trying to make new music. And I'm done in the hospital the 30th of June, because I was there for a whole year working from Monday to Saturday. And I graduate as a general physician. And now I'm going to be working via telemedicine, emergency medicine, and doing music. So
you just finished your residency then, basically?
I just finished my residency, yeah.
And what was this year like? Because the pandemic for our frontline workers, our frontline healthcare workers, even in the best of circumstances and the most funded hospitals, has been extremely difficult. Puerto Rico had unique problems. Residents had unique problems there with the pandemic in terms of supplies and support. What was it like for you at the hospital working on the front line like that during the pandemic?
No, it's been a crazy year, because we've had over 10 patients at the same time in my hospital, and we're a hospital of around 100 beds, and we had more than 10 patients with COVID-19. I learned to intubate with COVID patients, basically. That's what I tell everybody who asks me. So it's been a hard year. I've learned a lot, but it's been very hard not to be able to. Still, family members of the patients are still outside. We're still working with the pandemic in Puerto Rico. But it's been a learning experience and a year that changed my life, definitely.
I want to talk about, because we're celebrating the Puerto Rican spirit and the Puerto Rican soul, and there's so much of that in your music, which I found is just, the energy number one, and just that love of life and having fun and making people feel good. You tell us about how do you see the Puerto Rican spirit and soul, and why is it different from others?
I think we're a combination. There's a song that says that the perfection comes from mixing people, and we're a mix of Africa and Spain and Taínos and Latin culture, Caribbean, the United States. I think that our blood is just a mix of everybody, and you feel it in the music and the happiness of the people. And I don't know, I love Puerto Rico. I live here. I wouldn't live anywhere else. The food is great. The people are great. Music is great. So
it's fantastic. Now you talk about music as preventive medicine. Why do you say music is preventive medicine?
Right now, at least not in this studio, but my studio used to be full of messages from fans, and how my music helped them one way or another. If it was just getting a better relationship with a friend or a sister or brother, or getting out of a depression, or depends how you do music. I tend to have a balance in my music. I think that balance is key. And I will talk about personal issues, from my family members to deaths in my family, to just music for dancing, and music that talks about social issues, especially in Puerto Rico. And I don't know, people resonate with it and use music to just get out of personal problems. And I think that music can help alleviate those.
Oh, I definitely do, because I think it helps so many people feel like they're not alone when they're going through something, like they're not alone. Other times it can just help you lift your mood and lift your, put a smile on your face, get you moving, just change the whole vibe,
Easy, definitely. Both. you can, maybe you think you're alone in some issues, and you know another person is writing about the same thing. So you know you're not alone, which is true. And see, from helping you to exercise or to laugh, music is everywhere.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on Puerto Rico. If you'd like to share it or see it again, go to our Fox 5 NY YouTube page. And remember, use your mind, it's your best weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.